Planning a vacation can be stressful, but it can also be necessary. Having a weekend getaway can help you in more ways than just seeing a new place and having good photos to post on Instagram. It can improve your family relationships, boost mental motivation, decrease burnout, and increase happiness. Choosing where to go matters just as much as the decision to go at all. Every city has something different to offer, and St. Louis, Missouri might just have what you're looking for. St. Louis is a city built around access, and that philosophy shows up in ways that aren't always obvious.
It's the non-money related aspects that matter. It's how can we continue to grow as a community to protect all of the institutions that we have. How do we become more resilient to anything that challenges us, whether it's environmental, whether it is financial, whatever that may be. How do we become forward thinking?
Why are those tennis courts where they are? Why is that highway where it is? Why is this neighborhood drawn this way, right? When you start to understand those things about your community and your city, you end up being more tied to it. We say all the time, that history is such a great way to help people form connections to their communities. And there's studies that bear that out, that if you feel connection to a place, if you care deeply about a place, not only are you more invested in its future, you're more invested in its present. Places that have more community attachment, they survive natural disasters better because those neighbors are helping each other, because they care about the place where they are.
The Zoo Museum District, or the ZMD, is the public tax district that supports St. Louis's major cultural institutions, places like the zoo, the art museum, the science center, and the history museum.
All of our institutions are a beloved part of our community. Many of the youth and even the adults, at some point in their life, they have that fond memory of going to the zoo and experiencing some type of animal that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see because it's here, or going to the science center and not realizing that farmers are part of the science program, and just other various career choices and such that otherwise they may not think of going into it. So each of our institutions really believes in the mission that they are part of our community. And they want to empower our youth to explore the various offerings that they may have and the career paths that would lead them. By doing so, we have great people that come from St. Louis that go on to do great things, whether it's in the botanist world of plant science, or someone in the conservation of animals, or even our history museum that's telling stories of St. Louis's past that most of the country and world hasn't heard about.
Sort of revitalize her species.
Because STEM is for everyone, and we know that there's certain barriers to entry to certain things, we do a great job of getting out in the community, especially underserved and underrepresented populations. People that may say that they don't see themselves in science, but we show individuals that they have a place in science and they can do that. We have programs here inside our facility. We have educational programs. We have programs where we go out in the community to places that maybe can't make it here to the Science Center every day. And then we also have learning programs. We try to spark the feeling that I know that person, or I have someone that looks like me in that position. We have a social media campaign called STEM Like Me, where we focus on different populations throughout the year and show that there's people that are leading science educators, leading science professionals in those particular communities, and maybe you could someday be that person in the future.
Making people feel like they belong is the mission, and the Zoo Museum District is the foundation that makes it possible.
So to talk a little bit about the Zoo Museum District and how it works here in St. Louis, it was approved by the voters of St. Louis and St. Louis County, so that's the city and county, a little bit over 50 years ago. At the time of the ZMD's creation, we had a few institutions, namely the zoo, that was struggling to find funding to continue to innovate. They're kind of getting stale. They were just operating, and they had areas that they wanted to grow into and aspirations that they wanted to move into. And so our founding fathers, or the thinking fathers of of the ZMD kind of put their minds together and said, okay, how can we do this? And so a little bit about how we work is 100% of the ZMD's funding comes from a property tax assessment. So that's on real and personal property that is owned within the city and county jurisdictions. That revenue comes to the ZMD this year in 2025, or I should say the 2025 tax levy. We'll get some of that this year and most of it in the following years as collections come in, because taxes are due at the end of the year by December. But for 2025's tax levy, we're expected to bring in $100 million. And so that $100 million goes to 5 institutions. The zoo and art museum get about 27% of that. About 13% goes to the science center, the history museum, and the botanical garden. And then the ZMD retains 5% for our operations. That's about $5 million. We here at the ZMD understand that those dollars need to go to fund the fun stuff, which is the work that our 5 institutions are doing. And so we actually only use about 0.06% of that total. And a majority of that money is given back to the institutions.
The importance of this system becomes more clear in day-to-day moments families live and share inside these institutions.
Here at the ZMD, a lot of our institutions are free. And I have a 3-year-old. When he was 2, when he was 1, you never knew what side of the bed he was going to wake up on that day. And so there's no pressure for a family to be able to walk into the zoo and have to leave 30 minutes later, because it costs them nothing. They can try again the next day.
I think the fact that the Science Center is free is something that's unique to St. Louis. It's unique to the science community. We were just awarded from USA Today newspaper the best free science museum, or the best science museum in the country, the best planetarium in the country. Newsweek magazine named us the best free institution in the United States. So these are things that not only are we proud of here in St. Louis, but now that we know that the United States is looking forward to us, and we're well respected in the community for some of the cutting edge hands-on activities that we do, and we try to build upon that every single day.
I think the fact that we have so many free institutions here really does make St. Louis a unique place, right? It's a place that, like, it doesn't cost anything extra to go connect yourself with the history of this place. It doesn't cost anything extra to go connect yourself with world-class art. It doesn't cost anything extra to go learn about animals and conservation efforts that are happening all over the globe, right? In a lot of places, there's a pretty high barrier of entry for those kinds of things, right? And so I think making those things accessible to people, making those things free, I think helps create a shared fabric here in St. Louis around those institutions that helps us all identify as St. Louisans, right? We all have these sort of common points because these places are easy to get to and free.
Cost isn't the only factor that determines who shows up, but removing it expands who gets to take part, and you can see that play out in the way people use these spaces.
Being a free institution is really important to our mission here at Missouri Historical Society. There's no barrier to entry, right? Like, anybody can come in here and learn this history. And we take that really, really seriously here, right? Like, we want to make sure that everybody's history is represented. We're not, beholden to one group or another. We want to represent St. Louis, right? Those are the people, those are the taxpayers that pay into the ZMD that allow us to be free. So we want to make sure that we're representing those people and reaching them at all sorts of different levels, right? We have numerous accessibility features, right? For people with low or no vision, or for people who are hard of hearing. However people are approaching exhibits, we want to make sure that all our exhibits are as accessible to everybody as possible. So it really affects the ways that we want to tell stories. And I think it makes our storytelling better, right? Because we're making sure that everybody can find a way to connect to our exhibits. So it affects us in that way, that we just want to be open and accessible to everyone. And I think everybody here takes that really, really seriously, right? We pour that kind of effort into everything that we do. And it allows us to, kind of think bigger than I think a lot of historical societies might think. In the spring and in the fall every year, we have a 4-week concert series where we turn the front lawn of the museum into a stage, and we have bands that come and play music. And thousands of people attend these free concerts. That's not something you think about when you think about a historical society, right? Is somebody, this spring we had a band playing, hits from Usher, right? That's not the thing you think of when you think of a historical society, but it is the kind of thing that happens here. And, I think what it does is it helps people think of the History Museum as more than a history museum. Think of it as sort of a front lawn for St. Louis, a gathering place for St. Louis, but then it also helps get people in the doors to learn more about the history of this place.
And there's something for everyone. So when we design an exhibit, when we design a gallery, we have to find something that appeals to everyone. So there's an educational aspect of everything that we do, there's a hands-on aspect, and hopefully there's a spark. Something that can get you going and get you to want to know more about that particular topic.
So I think it's incredibly important to the identity of St. Louis and that these places are free. And I think it makes St. Louis sort of this, an overlooked gem in so many ways. It's something you see anytime you get, on Reddit or social media or something, and there's a post about someone who's visiting St. Louis for the first time and say, I can't believe there's so much to do in this city that's free, that is just available to you all the time. And I think it's something that sometimes here in St. Louis we forget about or take for granted, even as it is something that's helping us to create our identity as St. Louisans. It's just something you don't think about. And then you go to another city and you're like, wait, that museum costs $40 to get into? It's sort of a little bit of sticker shock because we are so used to being able to have that kind of access here.
A vacation can give you a reset, but the place you choose to visit shapes what you walk away with. In St. Louis, the doors to culture, science, and history stay open for anyone who wants to participate. It's hard to find, but the best things in life truly are free and open to all.